Okay, so today is the 24th, excuse me, anniversary of 9/11, and everyone from that time has stories that are extraordinary and difficult to remember and to share. Sorry. For those that lived in New York at that time, today is overwhelming. And I know there's a lot of other things going on, but 9/11 wasn't just one day. It was weeks and months and years. And, all that smoke, it's because the building was on fire for months. It kept burning for months. So in the aftermath, the subway system continued to operate, but it was a jigsaw puzzle every day, and you had no idea how the pieces could fit or what they were going to do to try to make them fit. So every ride, every time, you had to read all these signs, these printed signs that they would make every day. They would say, this is now running on this line and going to here and that. And but you just did it. You just did it. You studied, okay, that's how I'm going to get where I need to go today. And so, like many comedians at that time, we felt obligated, and that our journey, our job at that time was to try and make people smile again, and it was hard. You felt guilty doing comedy, you felt guilty watching comedy, you felt guilty laughing about anything, even though it wasn't about that. That was still happening right over there, but everyone soldiered on. Everyone continued and did everything they could to contribute to holding it together. So this is not long, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks after 9/11. And my neighborhood, you can only get to it, they had the perimeter at 14th Street. I lived on John Street, so you could take whatever cab or subway, whatever, to 14th Street, and then you had to be driven home by the army or the police. And so I was doing a spot at the comic strip, and I only got late nights. Anyway, so I finished it, and it's very late, and I take the subway. I get on the 6 train, which was supposed to go all the way to Brooklyn Bridge that night. It would go to Brooklyn Bridge. And I was like, oh, great, that's so much closer. And so I got on it, and it went to, and I fell asleep on the train. When I woke up, the train had come to a stop and had been stopped for a minute, and I see these construction and fire crew and whatever, the various workers from the pile, they moved some emergency tape out of the way of this entrance that they'd gotten on the train. And I just woke up and was like, oh, this must be Brooklyn Bridge. So I get off the train, and the construction guys that had, the guys that had just gotten on, I had moved the tape of the exit, and so I thought it was an open exit, and I just went up these stairs, and it was Chamber Street, or what part of it they could use. And I walked outside, and I was on the pile. And to describe it, it was like this several stories tall mountain of twisted metal and crushed concrete and debris that you weren't sure what you were looking at. And as I stand there and I'm facing it, I realize I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. So I run. I see the barriers. Barriers probably about, I don't know, 50 yards from where I'm at. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be on that side of the barrier. So I run as fast as I can. And the smell, it was like this mixture of burning plastic and burning something else. And I get to the other side of the barrier, and I jump to the other side of the barrier, and I just sling it down. Now, this is so strange, because the area at that point now, the neighborhood's closed, and at this time of night, they pulled all the workers. This is probably, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I found myself alone at the barrier, staring at the pile. And I just remember how alone I was. I stand up and I look at it, and I swear, as God is my witness, all these ghosts shot through me. Like just straight through me. And I could feel them. They were so angry. They were so angry because they didn't know what happened. They had no idea what happened. I just remember them saying, screaming, "What happened? What the fuck happened?" And I just started crying out into the night. I said, there was a plane, and hijackers took it over and they flew it into the building. And then there was a second plane and they flew it into the second building. And that's why you didn't know what happened. You couldn't have known. I'm just screaming this. I was like, it's not your fault. They flew planes into the building. And I wept in a way this is nothing compared to the way I wept. I wailed. Because I could feel them. But what I remember also of that time is that in the aftermath, America, we came together. We came together. We didn't split and blame it on this person or that. We came together. And I wish we could remember that part of 9/11 too. That when these bad things happen, we need to come together. And I guess maybe that's why I'm sharing that story this year.